Mr. Barker is the favorite right now, and he is really selling out. I think he was done about 11:30 this past Saturday. And the other farmers are coming in. I understand blueberries will be the major draw this Saturday. I guess blueberries are in bloom, and so there'll be different ways of how to prepare them. If you just eat them just by the bushel, but there are a lot of interesting ways to do that, and of course they're delicious. My son loves them, and so encourage you to come out and do that. Last Saturday we had Tokar, our musician, come out. I think we did a little Zumba, and I know we had a cooking demonstration. So if you want to contact us about anything we're doing at Endeleo, we're doing a ton of things. Give us a call at 312-738-1060. That's 312-738-1060. We did a cooking demonstration with Chef Maria, who's been on the show last year. She did an amazing job with corn and peas, and it was just delicious and well worth it. And we had a crowd of people around her. Of course, we had the Chicago Public Library out there. The folks from Woodson are partners. You've heard me talk about the Carter G. Woodson Regional Library many times in terms of how we helped spur the renovation of that $10 million restoration that you see at the corner of 95th and Halsted. So the good folks, Director Linda Scope and Valerie Carter, came out and set up a table. So it was really cool. Had a lot of folks around trying to find out about new things, new exciting things that are happening at the library. And they came out and enjoyed the sun at the market, and I'm sure they'll be out several times during the summer because there's so many programs that we have. And I got to tell you about something. We have, in partnership with the library, something called a growing tower. I wish I had brought a photo of it, but it's actually a tower that actually grows plants and food indoors. It's amazing. It's this new technology. It runs by electricity, and we've got teams running it this summer. So it's actually going to produce food, and it uses light from electricity to replace natural sunlight. So it's amazing. It's set up in the library. So if you ever come into the library, go to the children's library section, and you'll see this growing tower. It's white, and it's in the corner, and it's just amazing. And what it does is it teaches young people about science, pH balance, how much water to use, and all of those kind of things, what ingredients go into it. And then from time to time you'll hear this churning, and it's actually the water actually going to the individual plants. I think there's chard, there are greens and different kind of plants and all kinds of things. I think there are a total of about 9 different plant foods that will be grown. And so at the end of the day, when those plants grow, they'll actually be food, and then they'll come down, it'll be harvested and brought down to our market by the young people who are working there this summer, and then it'll be food for the community. So what better way to get young people involved in agriculture and technology all at the same time? And who would have thunk that it would happen in a public library? I mean, it's just an amazing utility of a public space, and that again was the intention at Endeleo, to take something that was already there in the community and kind of reposition it, recast it, if you will, as something that would be beneficial to the community and healthy for the community. And so we're just excited about that partnership with a regional library. And there are a number of things. I told you last week about the dementia-friendly library aspect and the town hall meeting that we held a couple of Saturdays ago now. standing room only, packed capacity of African Americans learning more about this insidious disease called dementia, which a lot of people refer to as Alzheimer's disease, but it's a brain disease. It causes memory loss. We don't know what the cause of it is, but we know that African Americans are 2 to 1 in terms of being impacted by this disease, and so healthy food and just a complete, comprehensive care of the body is what we're going to be doing at the Woodson Library to help be a resource for this disease, because we know caregivers are struggling to take care of loved ones and don't have the information, the education, and the awareness to do these things. And healthy food, fruits and vegetables, are certainly part of preventative maintenance, if you will, or at least to help slow the disease down. There's a diet called the Mediterranean diet that a lot of people are touting as nutritious, that actually prevents the disease. And the studies aren't conclusive yet, but there are people in countries in the Mediterranean who don't suffer from this type of disease in any kind of amount. So there must be something to it. A lot of fish, a lot of leafy green and red vegetables, and I think it's doctors have told me that the more colorful your vegetables and your fruits are, keep consuming a variety of those, and that will impact your heart, which in turn will impact your brain. So a lot of information. You wouldn't think that all of these things would come from what you eat, but that's exactly the point, that a lot of the afflictions and the diseases that we are as a people are attracting, or seem to attract more so than other, are based on the things that we eat. And so we don't have to do away with everything that is not necessarily good for us, but we need to add on better things that will make us healthier and prevent illnesses that are indeed preventable, especially for young people. And that's why I think having young people work with this growing tower, and then having them work out of our Trinity Garden, is so essential. So they'll grow up with this. So this will be part of their DNA. They'll be wired with this knowledge that good food actually comes from the ground and not from Jewel or Dominic's or Mariano's or any of those other places. Because I think I could be completely off base, but I think there's a perception, not just in our community, but just universally, that food comes from the store, and that's just that's en route from somewhere else. And so we just need to be more cognizant of eating food that comes from the natural soil, pesticide free food. And so that's where we're going, and so we look forward to you being out here. Saw a real interesting article that came out earlier this week, and actually there was a show on Chicago Tonight on PBS about I think the question was, and I'll show it in the overhead, have farmers markets reached their peak? In other words, are there so many farmers markets that there are no more need for farmers markets? And the jury is still out about this, and the article goes on to say that there's no real strong data in terms of how to account for how many markets are actually in Chicago and in Illinois. But what we do know is that our communities are still in food deserts, designated food deserts, where fresh food, healthy fruits and vegetables still are not found. So, you have to take that kind of thing with a grain of salt, because we are still seeing a litany of corner stores in our community that don't sell fruits and vegetables, and the limited amounts that they do sell don't look the best. I'm not saying they're not worthy of consumption, but there's just not a steady flow of fruits and vegetables that are continuously updated and sold in our community. And so as long as these corner store markets still exist in our community, the need for farmers markets will continue. And quite frankly, I said last week that we've operated the past couple of years with a USDA grant to supply and support our church's farmers market. We're not operating with one this year, but we're still going on with it. But we've applied for another 3 years, a 3-year renewal for the grant that will actually take place next year. And the thought process behind that is that we'll one day not just be an open air farmers market that operates from July to September, but that will be a year-round market that'll actually have a roof and be an actual place, and set up what we call food pharmacies. So you instead of getting a prescription for medicine, how about a prescription for healthy food, healthy fruits and vegetables, how to prepare them, how to preserve them, the whole nine from A to B, because there's a perception that if folks buy healthy food, if they don't eat it right away, then it just goes to waste. And that probably comes or stems from the fact that we're so used to eating food out of cans and packages that we just throw away once we're done. What do we do with fresh food that comes out of the ground that we're not necessarily ready to eat right away? And there's a methodology to preserving it, and that's part of the education that we hope to provide with a number of our partners. The American Heart Association is one of those very, very strong partners. We had them on the show a couple of seasons ago, and ever since we've built a stronger partnership. And of course, they're all about heart health, exercise, nutrition, walking, and so it all goes hand in hand. And that's why the corridor revitalization that we're working on, that I've spoken about many, many times, is very important to walking. We want people in the Washington Heights community and the larger community to be able to walk down the street and feel safe in a well-lit area, and get exercise. Walk from the new renovated train station to the Woodson Library. That's a nice mile walk, and I think that is conducive to improving your heart health, your respiratory system, all of those things. Just exercising and generating that blood flow so that your memory and your mind stays sharp. So we're going to be working with the American Heart Association and others. I know UIC will be there with the smoothie bike in a couple of weeks, and so we'll be doing all kinds of things that complement eating healthy. So nutrition, exercise, dancing, yoga, Zumba, all of those things that are, again, conducive to a healthy outlook. So wanted to tell you, I just mentioned let me do this because I promised I would talk about the overhead. The value coupons that we have at the market. So these are very, very valuable. And if you happen to have link access, you can come to the market and spend money and get free money in terms of merchandise. So if you spend, let's say, $10 at the market on Saturday with your link card, that entitles you to $10 worth of fruits and vegetables. And so we don't have enough people taking advantage of this that are qualified to get it. And so we're going to do a better job this year, this season, this summer, of getting this information out. And again, this ties back to the preservation and preserving aspect, because let's say you spend $20 or you spend $30. I think we've got a limit on it of about $30. But if you spend $30, you will be going home with virtually $60 worth of food. And I mean, where else can you do something like that? And so we encourage you to do this. Come out, tell folks that you know that may be eligible for this, and take advantage of this because it's good for your family, and it's good for you, and it's a value add, because we're always hearing that farmers markets are too expensive, and I can go to the store and pay less. And that's because those companies are typically larger than farmers markets. They have much more volume, but there's nothing like investing in, let's say, African American farmers who are growing this food just south of the city in Pembroke, Illinois, who this is all they do in their livelihood. And this period of time during the summer is their harvest, is their bounty. This is their opportunity to make money, for the most part, that will pay for their lifestyles throughout the year. And I mean, they're farmers. This is what they do. This is what they count on, the weather and people like yourself to come out and patronize these folks. And so you may save a couple of bucks, you may save a couple of nickels or dimes here, but I mean, the satisfaction of keeping the dollar in the community, keeping it circulating, more than once. We're it's well documented about how many times the dollar, circulates in our community. And so this is a cooperative economics model where we can see that we're shopping with each other, and, vendors that come and compliment the farmers. We had the folks that sell the delicious cookies that I can consume all by myself there last Saturday, and those people count on a market that's going to be full of people. And so we encourage you to come out. If you can spend your money elsewhere, that's fine, but at least come. And I've heard people say, well, hey, I shop at the farmers market downtown when I get off work. But that's not Trinity's farmers market. That's not your neighborhood farmers market. That's a downtown market. So instead of choosing between this one or that one, how about both and? And I think you'll be pleased with the satisfaction that you're knowing that you're helping someone in a rural area actually grow and sell their food. So it's my pitch. We've been supporting them. This is our 10th year supporting black farmers in Pembroke. So please come out and help us. We're taking your phone calls at 312-738-1060. That's 312-738-1060. And I want to spend the bulk of the remainder of the time talking about our community visioning meeting. You've heard me talk about our community visioning over the last week and our efforts to revitalize the corridor. Well, this is your opportunity. If you live anywhere in the approximate vicinity of Washington Heights, Auburn Gresham, Burnside, Calumet Heights, Roseland, any of Beverly, West Beverly, Morgan Park, come out this Wednesday, July 18th at 5:30 to the Carter G. Woodson Regional Library. We're going to be set up in the auditorium. We want to get your input on what the corridor along 95th Street how it should look, how it should be designed, what should go in it. As you know, we have a $300 million renovation taking place with the CTA. If you look in the corner there, you will see that red glowing building. That is the new redline station that is rapidly unfolding. The south terminal is finished, and now they're working on the north terminal that should be completed sometime in 2019. And then I believe a dome is going to go over that. So it's going to be an exciting thing. And of course, you see the Woodson Library, and that opened in February. And so we've got these two bookended major developments in our community, one at the corner of 95th and Halstead, and the other at the corner of 95th and the Dan Ryan. And so there are some challenging areas in and around the new Red Line station, and so we implore business owners, students particularly, to come out. Young people, business owners, residents, come out on Wednesday, July 18th at 5:30. Refreshments will be served. I think it's going to be kind of warm that day, so refreshments will be served, but we want to hear your voice and get your input on what goes in the 95th Street corridor. One of the things that we're excited about is this will be the first of 4 actual community visioning meetings. There'll be one, this will be the introduction on Wednesday, and then the following month we're going to do something around transit-oriented development, better known, the acronym is TOD, and it's simply activity and development in and around a transit station, usually about a half mile or 4 blocks around that train station. So we're focused on the 4-block radius around the Red Line station, just west of the Red Line station, and actually a bit east of the station in the West Chesterfield neighborhood. So we need your input. We need to hear from you about what it is. We're not gonna presuppose that we know what's good for the community. We're not going to speak for the community. We need to hear from the community itself and hear the voice. And then by the time we're down to the 4th meeting, which should happen sometime in either late September or early October, then we'll have a nice bit of information, and then we'll give that information back to the community to basically say, this is what you told us. And so we're working to build community partnerships through these visioning sessions, but we're also working on the other side with public partners like the CTA, the Metropolitan Planning Commission Committee, the Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning, and the City of Chicago, and each one of them will be represented at these community visioning meetings. So it's very, very important that you come, because they're going to hear this come from you. And so it won't be just one single organization voicing this. We're going to build consensus around what we see, and what the urban planners and city officials will help us do is help kind of frame the conversation, right? So, maybe we can't have an amusement park or something like that in along 95th Street, but we can have a grocery store. We can have perhaps a small boutique hotel or something like that. So don't want to limit the imagination, but it's an exciting time in Washington Heights. We certainly hope that you're going to take part either in the farmers market on Saturday. We're there at 8 o'clock. Get there at 8 o'clock. Oh yeah, we're giving away 50 more bags, right? 50 more green bags that you'll be able to keep and use throughout the season, and even after it, so you won't have to pay for bags at the grocery store. So definitely come out, take advantage of that. Hope to see you the following Wednesday at Woodson Library to voice your opinion, give your input on what we're trying to do and accomplish. You saw what we did with the community-led restoration of the library, and now it's on to the 95th Street corridor. So until next week, stay focused, stay cool, and we'll see you.